All right, so you're thinking about becoming a sawmill operator, and you want to nail that interview.
Yeah, it's a great career path, and we're going to dive deep into how to prepare.
We've got some awesome resources from RoleCatcher today.
Their career and interview guides are
They
top-notch.
really give you an edge. So let's unpack all this.
Sounds good.
The career guide talks about internships and apprenticeships.
Right. Those are really valuable, especially when you're starting out.
They can make a huge difference in an interview.
For sure. Think of it like this. You're not just learning the ropes.
Right.
You're building a network and getting a feel for different sawmill environments.
That's gold when you're sitting across from an interviewer.
Absolutely.
So let's dive into those interview questions now.
Okay, sounds good.
The interview guide says the first one is often, what experience do you have working in a sawmill?
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward.
But what are they really getting at there?
They want to see if you can actually handle the work.
Right. It's not just listing jobs on your resume.
Yeah. Exactly. You need to show them, what you're doing.
So how do you do that?
Tell them about specific times you operated equipment, maybe a bandsaw or a log turner.
Okay, give them concrete examples.
Yes, and talk about the challenges you faced.
And how you overcame them.
Right. It shows you can think on your feet and solve problems.
So even if it's not direct sawmill experience, you can still relate it back.
Absolutely.
All right.
If you've done carpentry, talk about your precision cutting or understanding wood types.
So make those connections clear.
Yeah, and this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really help.
Oh, how so?
It analyzes the job description and flags keywords.
Like bandsaw safety protocols, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Whatever they emphasize, you can tailor your answer to hit those points.
It's like a cheat sheet, but in a good way.
Exactly. It helps you focus on what matters most to them.
I like it. Now, another common question is, how do you ensure the quality of the lumber produced?
Ah, yes. This one can be tricky.
It seems like a potential minefield if you're not prepared.
It is. They want to know you're detail-oriented.
Not just turning out wood,
Right. Think about those quality control steps.
like inspecting for defects, measuring dimensions.
Yeah, understanding lumber grades.
So instead of just saying, I make sure it looks good,
All right. Give them specifics.
I use the digital caliper to verify board thickness was within tolerance,
Perfect. That shows you understand the standards.
ensuring it met customer specs.
Exactly. You're hitting all the right notes.
Now, they might follow up with, have you ever spotted a quality issue? What did you do?
Oh, that's a good one. A story can really make you stand out here.
Right. So instead of just saying, I fixed it,
Give them a specific example.
okay, like, once I noticed a warp in a batch of boards, I halted production,
Good. You're showing initiative.
identified the cause, a misaligned blade, and got it fixed, preventing further waste.
Now you're talking problem-solving skills and commitment to quality.
It paints a picture of you in action.
Exactly. It's what they want to see.
All right, let's talk about pace, another classic question. How do you prioritize tasks in a fast-paced environment?
Oh, yeah, that one applies to a lot of jobs.
But in a sawmill, it's amplified, right?
Absolutely. Think about it. Saws, running logs, moving orders to fill.
And safety is paramount.
Always. But so is efficiency. They want to know you can handle the pressure.
So again, a specific example is key.
For sure, show them you won't freeze up.
Like, during a rush order, a machine jammed, I quickly assessed the situation.
Okay, you're staying calm under pressure.
Followed lockout procedures to clear the jam safely and got us back on track, minimizing downtime.
Now you're hitting those keywords, safety, efficiency, problem solving.
And showing them you can think clearly when things get hectic.
Right. And again, RoleCatcher's AI can analyze your answer flagging if you're missing key points.
Or sounding too generic.
Exactly. It's like having a second set of eyes to make sure you're on point.
All right, speaking of points, let's not forget safety. How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others when operating sawmill equipment?
This one's a biggie. They want to know you live and breathe safety protocols.
It's not just about knowing the rules, it's about applying them.
Right. Give them examples of how you're proactive about safety.
Like, before starting any machine, I do a visual check for loose parts or hazards.
Good. That shows you're paying attention.
And I always wear my PPE even when it's hot. Safety's not negotiable.
Perfect. You're demonstrating a strong safety mindset.
Now, they might ask, what would you do if you saw a colleague not following safety procedures?
Ah, this one tests your leadership and communication skills.
So it's not just about pointing fingers.
No, you need to show you can handle the situation professionally.
So something like, I'd calmly remind them of the procedures and the risks involved. I believe everyone deserves to go home safe, so I'd speak up.
Perfect. You're showing you're a team player who prioritizes safety.
Okay, we're on a roll.
Yeah.
Let's tackle another one. How do you troubleshoot equipment issues in a sawmill?
This one's about more than just knowing which button to press.
It's about your thought process.
Exactly. They want to see how you approach problems.
They're looking for someone who can think logically, isolate problems.
And maybe even fix simple things.
So instead of just saying, I call maintenance.
Right. Walk them through your steps.
Okay, like I'd start by checking power and connections, then I'd consult the manual and try to diagnose the issue.
Good. You're showing initiative.
If it's beyond my scope, I'd report it clearly to maintenance, providing all the details.
Excellent. You're demonstrating a methodical approach.
And that you can communicate effectively.
Those are valuable traits in any sawmill operator.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help you refine this answer.
Absolutely. It might suggest adding a specific example.
Of a time you successfully troubleshooted a problem.
Right. The more specific and tailored your answers, the better.
It shows you're not just reciting memorized responses.
You're thinking critically about your experience.
And how it applies to this job.
Exactly. That's what sets you apart.
Okay, before we move on to the next batch of questions, let's touch on those career insights again.
Oh yeah, good idea.
The career guide talks about advancement, moving into supervisory roles, or specializing in areas like equipment maintenance.
It's smart to show you're thinking long-term.
Even in an entry-level interview.
Right. You can mention how you're interested in learning more about a specific area.
Like saw sharpening or computer-controlled systems.
Exactly. It shows you're invested in a career path.
Not just a job.
That's right.
So it's all about showing them you're serious about this.
And that you're ready to grow with the company.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground already, but there's still more to come.
We'll be back with more interview prep tips in the next part of our deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive on becoming a sawmill operator. We're going to keep prepping you for those interview questions.
All right, so we've covered some tough ones already, but there's more to come.
That's right. The interview guide from RoleCatcher has a lot of good stuff in it.
Okay, so let's tackle another one. How do you manage inventory levels in a sawmill?
This one's about organization.
It seems less about operating machinery and more about keeping things in order.
It is, and it's crucial some. Sawmills need the right wood in the right amounts at the right time.
To keep production flowing smoothly.
Exactly. They're looking for someone who understands that flow.
And can anticipate needs.
Right. So instead of just saying, I keep track of what we have,
right,
talk about the process.
So something like, I'd regularly check inventory levels against upcoming orders and flag any potential shortages to the supervisor.
Perfect. That shows you on top of things.
So we can order in time.
Yeah, and mention any systems you've used, spreadsheets, inventory software, even a well-organized logbook.
Okay, that shows you're organized and detail-oriented.
Exactly. And they might ask a follow-up question about dealing with unexpected shortages.
Or changes in orders. How would you handle that pressure?
Right. You could say something like, if we were short on a particular type of lumber, I'd first try to identify alternatives in stock.
Okay, so you're thinking on your feet.
That could meet the customer's needs. If not, I'd communicate the delay clearly and work with the team to find the quickest solution.
So it's about problem-solving, communication, and keeping that production moving smoothly.
Exactly, you got it.
All right, let's shift gears to efficiency. The interview guide mentions the question, how do you ensure that the sawmill operates efficiently and meets production targets?
This one's about the big picture.
It's about more than just your individual tasks.
Right. They want to see that you're thinking about the success of the whole operation.
So how do you show them that?
Talk about optimization teamwork, getting the most out of every shift.
Okay, maybe I could talk about a time I improved a process.
Yeah, give them a specific example.
I noticed we were spending a lot of time moving lumber between stations.
Okay.
I suggested reorganizing the workspace, and it actually reduced handling time by 15%, boosting our output.
Perfect. You're quantifying your impact, showing initiative, and demonstrating your understanding of workflow.
They like numbers.
We do.
Now, they might ask, how would you handle a situation where production is falling behind schedule?
That's a good one. It tests your problem-solving skills under pressure.
So what's a good approach here?
You could say something like, I'd first try to identify the bottleneck. Is it a machine issue, a material shortage, or something else?
Okay, so you're thinking systematically.
Then I'd work with the team to brainstorm solutions, whether it's adjusting the workflow, calling for maintenance, or finding creative workarounds.
So you're showing leadership and a collaborative spirit.
Exactly, and this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful.
Oh, how so?
It can analyze your answers for keywords, clarity, and even your tone.
Wow, that's impressive.
It might suggest adding more detail about specific actions you took or highlighting your leadership qualities.
It's like having an interview coach in your pocket.
It is. It helps you polish your responses and project the right image.
Okay, I like it. Now, let's address a question that might seem more relevant for a leadership role. How do you manage a team of sawmill operators?
Even if you're not applying for a supervisory position, they might be gauging your potential.
So they're looking for those leadership qualities.
Exactly. So even if you haven't officially managed a team, you can still draw on experiences where you've shown leadership.
Okay, so have I ever trained a new colleague, led a safety initiative taken charge during a challenging situation?
Those are all great examples. Think about times you've stepped up.
Like, I once helped a new operator learn the ropes on the edging machine.
Okay, good example.
I patiently explained the procedures, demonstrated the techniques, and made sure they felt comfortable and confident operating it safely.
Perfect. You're showcasing communication mentorship and that commitment to safety.
All qualities of a good leader.
Right, and they might follow up with, how would you handle a conflict between team members?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. It's getting into those soft skills that are so important in any workplace.
So how do you navigate that?
You could say something like, I believe in open communication and finding common ground. I'd encourage the team members to express their concerns respectfully.
Okay, so you're creating a safe space for dialogue.
Listen actively to both sides and try to mediate a solution that benefits everyone.
So you're a facilitator, a problem solver, and someone who fosters a positive work environment.
Exactly. And remember, even if you haven't had formal management experience, you can still demonstrate leadership qualities.
Through your actions and your words.
Right. Show them you have what it takes.
Okay, let's tackle a question that's becoming increasingly important in all industries. How do you ensure that the sawmill complies with environmental regulations?
This one's about sustainability.
It seems like they're looking for someone who's both knowledgeable and proactive.
They are. Sustainability is a big deal in the lumber industry.
So how do you show them you're serious about it?
You need to demonstrate that you understand the regulations and go beyond just checking boxes.
So instead of just saying, I follow the rules.
Right. Give them specific examples.
Okay, like at my previous job, I helped implement a new waste reduction program. We sorted scrap wood for recycling, reducing our landfill waste by 20%.
Perfect. You're quantifying your impact and showing initiative.
And they might follow up with, what are some ways to minimize environmental impact in a sawmill setting?
That's where some research on industry best practices comes in handy.
Okay, so I could talk about things like responsible forestry practices,
Yeah,
energy-efficient equipment, or reducing water usage.
exactly. And don't be afraid to mention ideas you've had, even if they weren't implemented at your previous jobs.
It shows you're thinking critically about the bigger picture.
Right. You're not just a worker. You're a problem solver.
Okay, we're making great progress. Let's tackle one more question from the interview guide. How do you ensure that the sawmill meets customer specifications and quality standards?
This one ties everything together.
It's about understanding that the work you do directly impacts the end product and the customer satisfaction.
Exactly. It all comes back to the customer.
So I should emphasize my attention to detail and commitment to quality.
Absolutely. Show them you care about doing things right.
Like, I always double-check measurements against the order specs, and I'm meticulous about identifying any defects or inconsistencies in the lumber.
Good. You're highlighting those key qualities.
Now, they might ask, have you ever had to deal with a situation where the lumber didn't meet customer specs? What did you do?
This is another opportunity to tell a story that showcases your problem-solving skills.
Okay, so I could say something like, once we had a batch of boards that were slightly off in dimension, I immediately flagged the issue, halted production, and worked with the team to identify the cause.
You're taking ownership of the problem.
And recut the boards to meet the customer's requirements.
Excellent. You're demonstrating responsibility, problem solving, and a commitment to customer satisfaction.
It's all about going the extra mile.
It is, and that's what makes a great sawmill operator.
Now, before we move on, let's touch on those career insights again.
Okay, sounds good.
The career guide mentions the importance of continuous learning, especially as technology evolves in the sawmill industry.
That's a crucial point. The industry is always changing.
So how do you show them you're committed to staying ahead of the curve?
You can mention that you're interested in taking courses on computer-controlled systems or learning more about advanced sawing techniques.
So you're always looking for ways to improve your skills.
Exactly, and that's what employers want to see.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's take another look at how RoleCatcher's AI can help you ace those interview questions.
It's been such a valuable tool throughout this whole process.
From tailoring our answers to specific job requirements to getting feedback on our delivery, it's like having a personal coach guiding us.
It is, and it can make a huge difference in your confidence.
It's an invaluable tool for anyone serious about landing that sawmill operator job.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect. Use RoleCatcher's AI to fine-tune your responses, build your confidence, and walk into that interview feeling prepared.
We've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
But there's still more to come. We'll be back with the final part of our Sawmill Operator interview prep.
Okay, welcome back. We're in the final stretch of our Sawmill Operator interview prep.
That's right. We've covered those tough questions, but now let's broaden our view a bit.
Okay, I like that kind of zooming out to the bigger picture.
Exactly. Think of it as adding depth to your understanding.
Even if these topics don't come up directly.
Right. Knowing the context makes you a more informed, more confident candidate.
Okay, so what are some things people are often curious about when it comes to the sawmill industry?
Well, one common question is about the role of a sawmill operator in the overall lumber industry.
Right, it's easy to get focused on the day-to-day.
But you're part of something much bigger.
We're talking about a foundation of building materials, furniture, all kinds of things.
That's exactly. So what are some key takeaways about that connection?
I'm all ears.
Sawmills are the link between raw timber and usable lumber,
Okay, so you're taking those massive logs.
and transforming them into the boards and beams that go into construction furniture, making even paper production.
Wow, so each piece you process has a ripple effect across industries.
It really does. It's pretty amazing.
Now, another question people often have is about the main responsibilities of a sawmill operator.
Yeah, we've touched on this through the interview questions.
But it's worth summarizing, right?
Absolutely. The interviewer might want a concise overview of what your day-to-day would look like.
So what are the core duties?
Think of it in stages. You're operating those automated sawing machines, keeping an eye on the process, making sure things run smoothly.
Okay, so you're at the heart of the operation.
And you're also ensuring the lumber meets quality standards, and of course, safety is paramount throughout.
Right, that goes without saying.
So it's a blend of technical skills, attention to detail, and that unwavering focus on safety.
It's a demanding job, but also a rewarding one.
For sure. Now, speaking of skills, that's another frequent question.
What skills are essential to be successful in this role?
I imagine you're thinking hands-on ability and that understanding of the technology behind modern sawmills.
Right, it's got to be a combination of both.
Absolutely. You need that dexterity to handle lumber, but also the knowledge to operate, troubleshoot, even do some basic maintenance on those automated systems.
And physical stamina is important too.
Oh, yeah, it's a demanding job, physically and mentally.
Now, let's get real for a moment. People want to know about the working conditions. What's it actually like in a sawmill environment?
It's not for everyone. You'll be working indoors, but it's an industrial setting.
Okay, so noisy, dusty.
Can get hot or humid depending on the climate.
Right. Proper PPE is non-negotiable.
Absolutely, especially with wood dust and potential fumes.
So it's physically demanding and requires a certain level of comfort with that type of environment.
Yeah, you got to be able to handle the heat, so to speak.
Now, here's a question that often surprises people, the educational requirements.
Yeah, unlike some technical fields, there's not always a high bar to entry.
That's good news for people looking to start a career without necessarily having a college degree.
Exactly. While a high school diploma is usually preferred, a lot of the learning happens on the job.
Apprenticeships, those early career roles we talked about, that's where you build that foundation.
It's more about aptitude, willingness to learn, and proving yourself through experience.
So you don't necessarily need a fancy degree to get your foot in the door.
Not at all now. Thinking long-term, people want to know about career advancement. Where can this role lead?
That's where those career insights from the guide come in handy. It's not just a job, it can be a career path.
Exactly. With experience, you can move into supervisory roles, maybe leading a team, or specialize in areas like equipment maintenance or quality control.
So there are options to climb the ladder or branch out based on your interests and strengths.
Right. The industry is always evolving, so continuous learning is key.
Always be learning, always be growing.
Exactly. Now, before we wrap up, let's hit those two essential questions: safety precautions and common challenges.
Okay, these are important because they show the interviewer you're not just thinking about the job.
You're thinking about the realities of the work.
Right, so safety first, always.
You're working with powerful machinery, so following protocols is crucial.
PPE lockout procedures, knowing those emergency plans.
It's all about protecting yourself and your team.
And challenges.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that might make this job tough?
Well, equipment breakdowns are inevitable. Production targets can be demanding, and the industry is constantly adopting new technologies.
So you'll need to be adaptable.
You got to be able to roll with the punches, but for the right person, those challenges are part of what makes it rewarding.
It's about finding that balance between hard work and job satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly. So we've covered a lot of ground: the role, the industry, the interview, and even the bigger picture.
We've really gone deep.
We have. What are your final thoughts for our listener as they get ready for that interview?
I'd say go in with confidence, show your enthusiasm for the work, and be ready to learn and grow. The sawmill industry needs skilled, dedicated people, and with the right preparation, you can be one of them.
Great advice. And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI is there to help you every step of the way, from crafting your resume to practicing those answers. It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
It's an incredible resource. We've equipped you with the knowledge, the tools, and the confidence to make a great impression.
Now go out there and ace that interview.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of sawmill operators. We're rooting for you.